Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to a weekend previewing all the Premier League and Championship action this weekend. And we're getting closer and closer towards the end of the season. Big weekend of Premier League action coming up and starting off with the lunchtime game with Newcastle hosting Liverpool. And yeah, this is an intriguing one because Newcastle have been on brilliant form recently, 4 wins on the trot, but Liverpool, we just know how brilliant they are, aren't they? They're just absolutely relentless. So yeah, I think Newcastle will be a really competitive game, but for me, I'm still sticking with Liverpool for this one. They need it more. I'm going to say a 2-0 Paul win. Moving on then to Villa as they take on Norwich at Villa Park. And yeah, between two teams that aren't in great form, obviously Villa, they've just picked up 1 point from the last 5. It was a draw last night away against Leicester, so maybe signs of turning the tides for them. But Norwich, 2 losses on the trot, and all but relegated to the Sky Bet Championship next season. But Villa will want to end the season strongly under Steven Gerrard, so I think they'll go for the win here really hard, and I think they'll get it. I'm going to say 1-0 to Villa. Moving on then to St Mary's as Southampton take on Crystal Palace at St Mary's, as I already said. And yeah, this is an intriguing one really because Southampton not on the best run of form themselves. Really did pick up a 2-2 draw coming from behind at the Amex, so maybe that'll give them a bit of confidence. Palace as well, 3 losses before a 0-0 home draw at Leeds. So yeah, between two teams that aren't on the best run of form, it's kind of classic case of mid-table teams who kind of on the beach a bit when they stay up. But yeah, I think it could be a bit of a dull one this one. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on then to a big game down in the foot of the Premier League is Watford take on Burnley, and for me it's an intriguing one. Watford have lost the last 4, and I think that's kind of got rid of any hopes they had of staying alive. It's going to be a very tall order for them now, 9 points with 5 games to go. But yeah, they need to win this one. But Burnley, they'll come into this one with so much confidence. 2 wins on N2. They've started really well under Mike Jackson and have put themselves in a strong position to stay up. With Everton playing Chelsea, this is a big opportunity for them, and I think they're going to take it. I'm going to say 1-0 to Burnley to really put some daylight between them and Everton. Moving on then to Wolves as they take on Brighton at Molineux. And yeah, Wolves, it's kind of just gone wrong for them at the wrong time. 2 losses on the trot, putting their European hopes at jeopardy. But Brighton, they're winless in 2 as well. But not in a terrible run of form. Brighton, they're looking for a top half finish. Wolves looking for European football, which could be a bit of a tough ask unless they start picking up a bit. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But yeah, I do think they need to win more, and I will be a scrappy game. But I think they'll do it. I'm going to say 1-0 to Wolves. Moving on then to Leeds as they take on Man City at Ellen Road. And yeah, for me this is an intriguing one because obviously Leeds, they're on a good run of form. Unbeaten in the last 5, 1 through the last 5. So they're doing well. And Man City, obviously we know how good they are. And yeah, they won't step on the gas, but could their focus be on Real Madrid? You never know. But yeah, still, even though I think they'll have too much from Leeds, I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Everton as they take on Chelsea at Goodison Park. And Everton, the situation is just desperate at the moment for them, isn't it, really? It's becoming bleaker and bleaker by the week. Burnley have picked up and they are in serious trouble, Everton. But Chelsea, they're looking pretty much to win 3rd. And for them, the only thing really they have to play for the rest of the season is that FA Cup final. But yeah, you'd still probably expect them to have too much for Everton here, who's fighting for their lives. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Tottenham as they take on Leicester at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And this is another intriguing one. Tottenham, they'll come into this one probably not feeling too confident. It literally looked like they were taking March in the top 4 race, but 2 losses to Brighton and a draw to Birmingham, Brentford, has put their place in danger. And then you've got Leicester, who have just picked up 1 point from the last 3, so they'll be disappointed with that. But yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 to Spurs. So I think Leicester's will focus on the Conference League. Moving on then to West Ham as they take on Arsenal at the London Stadium. And yeah, for me this is another intriguing one because obviously you've got West Ham, whose focus is very firmly on the Europa League at the moment, and Arsenal, whose focus is very firmly in the top 4 race. So yeah, maybe like last week you'd expect to see West Ham rest a few players. And yeah, with Arsenal in the top 4, you maybe say they'd have a bit too much here. So I'm going to say a 2-0 win for Arsenal. Moving on then to Manchester United as they take on Brentford at Old Trafford. And yeah, this is another intriguing one because obviously Manchester United just on a dreadful run of form and they just want the season to end at the moment, don't they really? Against the Brentford side that are revitalised, won 3 of the last 4 and drew the other one against a good Spurs side. And could they even end the season in the top half? What a great story that would be if they could do that. So yeah, it's an intriguing one then, this one definitely, but I can't see United slipping up. I'm going to say 2-0 to them. Moving on then to the Sky Bet Championship games, and starting off on Friday night with a big game in the race for the playoffs. QPR face Sheffield United, and yeah, for QPR, Mark Warburton's practically announced that he's going to get the sack at the end of the season. So yeah, you fully expect Sheffield United to come into this one full of confidence against the QPR side that has struggled massively recently. And Sheffield United still have everything to play for, of course, in order to get into the playoffs. So yeah, I think the Blaze will come up and pick the 1-0 win here. Moving on then to Barnsley on Saturday as they take on Preston in the early game. And Sky probably put this one in there, thought that Barnsley would still be fighting for their lives, but it hasn't really panned out that way. A dreadful run of form, coupled with Reading's upturn, has meant that they have been relegated to League One. And Preston, they're not in the best run of form at the moment either. Winless in 3, lost the last 2. So yeah, that both teams will want to end the season on a high, but just looking at the moment, Preston just have that bit more quality, so I'm going to say 1-0 to them. Moving on then to a crucial game at the top of the Championship. Blackburn take on Bournemouth at Ewa Park. And yeah, Blackburn 4-1 went away at Preston last night. Didn't see that coming. It came out of nowhere. Has it been left too late though? Quite possibly, and that'd be a great shame for them. But yeah, they've still got something to play for, which won't be great news for Bournemouth. We obviously got that comeback against Swansea last night to seal the point, and that could be a pivotal point for them. So yeah, they'll come into this one, I think maybe a bit more confidence, but I just can't see them winning in here. So I'm going to say 1-1, putting even more pressure on them. Moving on then to Blackpool taking on Derby at Bloomfield Road. And yeah, this is another interesting one because Blackpool, they've picked up 7 points from the last 9 and are on a really good run of form at the moment. Against the Derby side that lost the last 2, and yeah, the season's kind of fizzled out. I thought maybe that Derby wants to end this time in the Championship on a high, but it didn't really seem like that against Bristol City. Blackpool were on a good run, so yeah, I'm going to say for a Blackpool win here. Moving on then to Bristol City taking on Hull at Aston Gate. And yeah, Bristol City, fair play to them, they're on a decent run to end the season, unbeaten in 4, 2 wins from that lot, and they're in 17th in the table now, and things are starting to look a bit on the up for them at the moment, really. And then you've got Hull, who are in 15th, in 18th, on 50 points. And yeah, they picked up a decent win against Reading. They've won 3 of the last 4, so it's between 2 good teams in good form. So yeah, I'm going to say 1-0 to Bristol here, but it's one that could go either way. Moving on then to Coventry as they take on Huddersfield at the Ricoh Arena. And yeah, Coventry, I mean, like, they're inconsistent form at the moment. I think that's the best way to describe it. Of course, they would have had hopes of the playoffs earlier on in the season, but yeah, I think that will be confirmed as over now if it isn't already, but basically is by goal difference. And Huddersfield, they secured their place in the playoffs. Fair play to them. Just an incredible season for them, and they'll want to build some momentum into it, and I think that's exactly what they're doing. I'm going to say 1-0 to Town. Moving on then to Middlesbrough as they take on Stoke at the Riverside. And yeah, Middlesbrough, they'll come into this one, I think, feeling relatively confident after that 2-0 win against Cardiff. Hopefully that'll be the spark they need to really revitalise themselves and make up the lost ground. They need 2 points extra on Sheffield United, so it'll be tough, but yeah, they just have to control what they've got to control. Stoke have improved recently and are up into 12th in the table, but you know, Borough, if they're the best, I think they should see them off. So yeah, I'm going to say a Borough win here, 2-0. Moving on then to Millwall as they take on Peterborough at the Den. And yeah, Millwall, I mean, like, 4 unbeaten, 2 wins from that lot, but yeah, the draw away at Birmingham last month could really affect them in their battles getting to the playoffs. They would have been 1 point off Sheffield United, done them really interesting, but 3 points off, and it's going to be a bit of a tall ask for them, I think, now. But it's against the Peterborough side that's already relegated, on a not bad run of form themselves, really. But yeah, you'd expect Millwall to have enough here and maybe take it down to the last day potentially. Moving on then to a bit of a Denver upper at the Medeski, Reading against West Brom. Reading will be thankful to be in that position, though, especially after that awful run they had around the New Year time. So yeah, they'll be happy to be safe. But West Brom, yeah, their season's just kind of fizzled out. It's been really disappointing for them, hasn't it? They'll want to end the season on a high. Reading as well end a disappointing season on a high. So it's about pride, really, for both of these teams. And it's a game that you really could feel like could go either way. So for that reason, I'm going to put it down as a draw. Moving on then to Cardiff as they take on Birmingham at the Cardiff City Stadium. And yeah, there's increasing rumours about Lee Bowyer's future at Birmingham with a poor run of form, and they've been in a relegation zone without any of the deductions at the moment, so that kind of just sums it up. Yeah, it seems like he's going to go, but then Stephen Morrison has lost his last 4 games for Cardiff, so he needs to end the season strongly, unless maybe he could come under some pressure. So it's a big game for both these sides, even though it does seem like a bit of a dead heat. So yeah, I'm going to say 1-0 wins Cardiff, but it could go either way. Moving on then to a crucial game then in the battle to stay in, to go on into the Premier League, as Forest take on Swansea at the City Ground. And yeah, who'd have thought we said that about Forest? And Chris Hughton was sacked, but it's just testament to the job that Steve Cooper's done. And of course, coming up against this former Swansea side who are draw specialists at the moment, and I think they take that against Forest here. But yeah, Forest were just on such a roll and need a victory to keep the race with Bournemouth going ahead of that crucial match on Tuesday. I'm going to say Forest win here, 2-0 for me. And finally then, a game on Sunday, and Jarrett could have repercussions for the championship race and the playoff race, because Luton and Fulham could both have their goals done and dusted by that time. Luton 5 points ahead of Middlesbrough, 2 games to go, so you think they'd be okay, but you never know really. And Fulham, yeah, making a bit of hash of winning the championship, just winning 1 from the last 5, but you still expect them to get it done. It's a game that could go either way. I don't think it'll make too much difference, but I'm going to say Fulham will finally get it done with a victory. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching. To like, share, subscribe, let me know thoughts, comments down below. Follow us with the subscription for daily football news and subscribe to my channel on the screen, and I'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.